Totally the wrong direction though. And in the beta, it's also worth noting that even though you may have seen in retail COH, you may have seen Flak 88 sniping sort of 3 or 4 riflemen at once, this does no longer happen in the beta, and accuracy versus infantry is significantly reduced versus versus infantry types. We've got this little flank over here. It was never really going to succeed though, walking into a pack and that amount of Bet2 Grens. It was never really going to work, just assaulting from 1 or 2 directions, and he might even lose his Sherman here. He's popped field repairs though, and repairing him pretty quickly. Not sure if that's going to save him from the pack though, and it's certainly not going to save him from lots of Shreks. One shot, and there we go. He got the critical he wanted, but now we got a Sherman Croc out. And that Sherman's taking a long time to go out of control. He's moving the pack up, which probably wasn't such a good idea, but the Croc is retreating. Rocky's also managed to cap this victory point over here on the left-hand side, but he is Tomitoma is not in any urgent need of getting himself any VPs, because the current VP counter is 433 to the Allies and 284 to the Axis. Crocodile's taking a few pack shots, but here we go. This is the big daddy of the armor doctrine. This is what you go to armor doctrine for. This in the Pershing, and this in the Calliope, and this is the Pershing, which is, oh, look at that. That is just disgusting, the amount of damage it did to those Grens. It is absolutely beastly, and can pretty much bounce most shots from a pack if it's out of cloak. Although the first shot cloak bonus does give it quite a neat little advantage against these big, slow Pershings. Excuse me. I really should get some more water on these shoutcasts. But there's double packs out and an 88 yet to be built, but when it is built, that's going to be quite a significant force to take on, even with this amount of rifles and the Pershing. We've got these, and plus all the Shreks, you got to remember, it's really going to be his infantry that's going to have to do the talking in this instance. Especially with For the Fatherland being popped constantly, he's what he really wants against this kind of heavy tier 2 play with the flak is a Calliope more than anything else. That could really do a good job at taking out this big cluster of dudes, even if they are all vetted. It would probably do a better job than the Pershing, which is probably going to have quite a tough time against this amount of AT. He's quite content though to just absorb Shrek fire, which he can do quite comfortably. Plus with all these flames moving in, those Vet2 Grens, ooh, instant crit on some of those guys in the building. Crocodile is going to be gaining some nice little vet surely quite soon. Pershing's moving out, interesting. He's into the line of fire, double packs though, both out of cloak and Shreks as well. Bounces most of those shots, but he did get a couple of penetrations, and it wasn't looking great for him really. But with a bit of repair, he'll be back in shape in no time at all. Rocky does now hold 2 of these VPs once again. He's managed to push up a little bit here, and he's now finished his Flak 88, which gives him great field of fire over this VP, and down here across the road as well, if he got some LOS down there. Plus he's got MG42s pretty much covering all directions at the moment. The central approach being covered by Volks and Grens. So as you can see, that Flak 88 shot pretty much hit straight into where those rifles were, but didn't do a whole lot of damage, or any damage at all really, because the accuracy now has been so nerfed, and also the splash damage, I believe. Although don't quote me on that. Typical armor play really. Tomitoma is floating a huge amount of munitions, 600 and almost 630 munitions here. Because as an armor player, you don't really have a whole lot to spend it on. Although he may be going for some sort of a charge with, if he unlocks it, he might try and charge with Allied War Machine with his 2 tanks here, more than capable of taking on at least some of this stuff if he can somehow take away or somehow kill these 2 packs. Rocky saying it's a boring game. Tommy says it's because you're camping. But well, I mean, Tommy's on. He's being ticked down in VPs, even though he does have 407, so he's not in a massively bad situation. He does want to start taking them back. And we got the Pershing now is all set up, including and the Croc. Rifles look like they're in position to try and take a flank here. And finally we got a bit of action over here on the left-hand side, which hasn't really seen much action at all over the course of this game. The left-hand side cutoff point is being taken back by the Axis, and if they can manage to hold on to that cutoff point for any decent length of time, that will really put a stopgap inside his fuel income, which is really what he wants at the moment. That said, if the Pershing is silly, he might end up inadvertently crushing some of these hedges, which isn't going to be particularly great for him, because then the Flak 88 will have a pretty clear line at him. He's got a pretty clear line at him right now, actually. Might be able to get a rear armor hit, maybe, if he's lucky. No, Flak 88's just attacking ground to try and knock out some of these hedges, I think. Looks like we're going for a bit of a base rush, though, with the Pershing and the Croc. Will probably be popping Allied War Machine at any point now. I'm not an expert on the CPs necessary for Allied War Machine, I have to say. I don't play armor an awful lot myself. But it'll be interesting to see what happens now, because those two packs are obviously, they're going to take a little bit of time to get down. So are these Grens, which are now Vet 3, which gives them a nice little bonus to health, as well as of course the great elite armor and the health regeneration. He's going in for a little bit of infantry squishing here. He's going to trap him, and he retreats to try and avoid being squished. Finally, the pack's opening up from maximum range, though. The Shreks are getting in here now as well. A couple of bounces, but a lot of penetrations as well. He's just popped field repairs. He needs to get sort of behind a shot blocker, though. If he can just sit behind that Krieg barracks for a little while, then he'll only have that one Gren squad to take on, which he can more than take on with these two tanks. Field repairs doesn't last forever, though, and that Pershing's probably only going to be able to get out with about 75% health by the time the ability wears off. So we'll probably need a little bit of topping up by some engineers as well. Meanwhile, over here on the right-hand side, just some tank traps and wire going down to try and stop any nasty flanks. There's obviously MG42s and the bunker right there. He'll probably be, judging by the placement of that bunker, he'll probably be turning that into an MG42 bunker so that he can hold on to the bunker for as long as possible, stop any infantry from capping it, and force him to either pull off some pretty intense flanks, or to in fact bring on some artillery or some tanks to take it out. But obviously tanks aren't really an option with the Flak 88 sitting there, especially with support vet rolling in as well. These folks just managed to grab the American cutoff. They're moving away now. They've done the business they needed. Excuse me, they've done the business they needed to do. We got some Vet 2 flamer NGs now, though. They've got 12 infantry kills. They're doing pretty nicely. Flak 88's blowing a few holes in the wall there, so he's got someone to shoot out of. Ooh, just caught the end of that nuclear pineapple there. Took out one or two guys, but with all that veterancy, the Volksgrenadiers do stand a little bit more of a chance against these barred rifles. Barred rifles, which are surprisingly lacking in veterancy. They each have a couple of kills, but they're obviously mainly Volks and Pioneers. The only real vet squad I've seen so far is obviously that double vet flamer squad, but also he's got this double vet rifle squad that's been just chilling out over this left-hand side for quite some time now. He hasn't really committed it to the fighting at the moment. Rocky's getting inside this building, which is somewhat dangerous play. Pineapple overshoots. Fortunately for him, he gets out again after taking a fair bit of damage, but retreats. And it's just bunkers after bunkers after bunkers being set up right now. But there is an MG42 bunker there, which he's perilously close to walking into. Bunker gets set up, but it is a little bit damaged. It'll be interesting to see what he converts this into, an MG bunker or a med bunker. But it looks like he is just trying to creep up with 88s and bunkers now, which is it's certainly a viable strategy. Not necessarily the most interesting one to watch, though. And we got more tanks coming out. This is a second Crocodile. Please forgive the sirens outside. It's an ambulance, not a police car. They're not raiding my drug supply just yet. We've got just some vanilla rifles, no veterancy. I think these guys look pretty fresh to me. I mean, look, there's 5 rifle squads, so I guess he must have got 1 or 2 churned out by a medic station that I haven't seen yet. I know he put out a medic station earlier, but I'm not quite sure what happened to it. The unfortunate thing, though, is that vanilla rifles just don't stand up late game versus these Vet 3 Grens at all, which is mighty unfortunate. They're only really good for throwing pineapples and the like. And he's got quite a sizable force down here, Tomitoma does. He's got 2 crocodiles and 2 croc Shermans and the Pershing, of course. Pershing is going to absolutely rape face no matter what the veterancy has on these Rens. And plus he's got his vetted fire blow as well. He's just bought field repairs as well, which is just going to allow him to take these shots without really noticing too much. Looks like he just used it to drive past this pretty horrible killing field between these Shreks and the pack and all sorts. Nuclear Pineapple onto the pack, takes it down to very, very low health, but there's still 3 men left. There's just so many Crocodile Shermans on the field now. I'm sort of struggling to keep track of them. I think one of them's got some veterancy. Yeah, that one's got a little bit of veterancy from all the vetted Grens that he's been munching on. But it's just flamers, which isn't a bad strategy to go. Actually, it's a very good strategy to go for against this kind of Gren spam, especially without any tanks on the way either. Still no evidence of any teching. I mean, a Panther right now could seriously fuck shit up for Tomitoma. I mean, the Pershing would give it a run for its money, but with all this AT and support, these Crocodiles wouldn't stand a chance against a Panther. It would force him to pop Allied War Machine or something similar, which wouldn't really cost him too much, given that he does have over 600... Oh, wow, that was a horrible, horrible pineapple. He does have over 600 munitions. A bit of a rush now. It looks like he's going to try and decrude his pack. He decrudes the M242 instantly. Oh, God, that Flak 88 does hurt, though, an awful lot. He's driving by this little house here, going to try and get inside this little alcove. Munching those shots at point-blank range, though. MG gets out and retreats.